हाँ चलो भाई कहानी सुनाते हैं। आप लोग सब सुन रहे हैं ना? थैंक यू थैंक यू। दिस स्टोरी is as ancient as the night sky. अरे भैया यहाँ पे भी थोड़ी सी लाइट लगेगी, नहीं तो मुझे तो कुछ दिखाई नहीं देगा। इनको मैं सुनाऊंगी क्या है? ओके, फिर से शुरू करते हैं। This story is as ancient as the night sky, sprinkled with stars. उन लाइटों की तरह। At the crossroads of a certain time, there lived a Kaji. ठीक है, थैंक यू। हाँ, मुझे पता था आपको पसंद आएगा। This Kaji had a special favor of the Pacha. The husband to 7 wives, 7 बीवियां थी उसकी. But as fate would have it, the Kaji was unable to father children. Even then, such was the Kaji's thinking that instead of finding any sort of fault in himself, he could only find fault in his wives. Very typical, very typical. In place of the children he couldn't have, the Kaji brought home a dog to shower his affection on. The animal was very bright. In just a few days, she became so dear to the Kaji that he could not bear to be away from her, even for a second. The dog had shiny jet black coat of hair, as soft as velvet, a bushy tail, drooping ears, a long and fluffy mane on the head, a sweet and pleasing bark. तालियां बजाओ भाई, कमाल है। The people from the neighborhood emulated the Kaji and began to shower the dog with great affection. And as they competed with one another to show who loved the dog the most, the clever people's affection only grew. The Kaji would look on as they inundated her with kisses, petted her, and bathed her, got her ghevar, malpuas and gulgulas made of ghee and sugar in neat bundles. They would feed her with her own hands with such fondness. Mwah! क्या बात है, क्या बात है। जब जब जुल्फे तेरी कवारियों का दिल मचले, भाया कवारियों का दिल मचले, जिंद मेरी क्या बात है, क्या बात है। Seeing such warmth being demonstrated by everyone, the Kaji could hardly contain the delight in his heart. Once an extremely astute gentleman, like you, sir, suggested that the dog be given a suitable name. The Kaji readily agreed, and in no time at all, a crowd congregated at his mention. Everyone was eager to suggest a name. So a stream of names began to make its way to the Kaji's ears. तुम लोग रुको, हुजूर, उनको बताने दो पहले। कलसुम रख देते। आप लोग बताइए ना, ये लोग तो बोलते जाएंगे। क्या नाम रखे? हाँ, इसका क्या नाम रखे? बोलिए ना। हाँ, बोलिए बोलिए जल्दी। सिलोनी, अनीता, विशेषी, क्या नाम रखे भाई? रिचा, क्या नाम रखे इसका? ना ना ना, जे सब नाम चोखा को नहीं लग्या। महबूब, जे नाम भी चोखा को नहीं लग गया। ना 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 ना। Don't try to steal my dialogues, Vishesh. इन्हें तो कोई नाम तो देना पड़सी, किंतु मैं ही देंगा। Okay, no. Us humans are named according to our caste, but it's better if cattle and dogs aren't bound by it. What do you think? हाँ, मुझे ही सोचना पड़ना है। 2 मिनट चुप करो। किसी रंग का नाम, हम इसको देंगे एक पक्षी का Kaji's mention agreed in unison. अरे मिठाई सबको दे देनी थी, चलो रिचा भाभी दे देगी, and exclaimed that such a good name would not have occurred to either खुदा और राम. देखा ये बात. If one were to compare a koel to their dear dog and his sweet voice, the bird would lose 7 times over. In just a few days, Hearing everyone call her Koyal, the dog too understood that it was her name. You want to try? Say Koyal. But what was immensely surprising was that no one could tell where the Koyal birds that lived in the gardens and parks of that neighborhood vanished, one after the other. Meanwhile, sweetness filled the mouths of those who took the dog's name. Perhaps even the gods turned envious of the good fortune of the Gaji's dog. In those days, Kajis were feared even more than Thakkars and lords. Religion and God were of course important in their own ways, but everyone was afraid of the Kaji. And owing to this dread, small and big, young and old, none dared to forget the name. अरे बैठो भाया, आगे बताता हूं क्या हुआ. But cursed death. She can neither be convinced by devotion nor be pleased by flattery. Neither does she care for one's honor, nor does she fear anyone. She embraced Koyal in the guise of rabies. And finally, after 3 days of immense suffering, even as she looked at her owner with eyes full of pain, she left for the shelter of Ram. The Kaji looked on helplessly as his darling Koyal's body became lifeless and cold. As soon as those surrounding the Kaji and his dead pet saw his eyes moisten, they began to wail and howl relentlessly. They took such a content of bawling and beating of chests and heads that your eyes could scarcely believe it. Deep within, every single one of them was just one wish, that the Kaji would take a special note of their grief. In that race, everyone's throats became sore and the tears streaming from their eyes would not abate. Oh. People weep in this manner, the Kaji's own tears stopped flowing. Now the question was, how was Koyal's lifeless body to be honored, cremated, buried, or surrendered to the water or the air? No. If she were to be burnt, there would be no trace left of my beloved Koyal. No. Leaving her in water would make her bloat in the open would mean crows, vultures and stray dogs would tear her apart.
ना हुजूर मैं बताऊं आपने फूल से नाजुक है कोयल इना तो मखमल की गद्दी पर बिछा श्या और ऊपर रेशमी चादर ओढ़ा श्या इको चंदन को ताबूत बना संगमरमर की करक कब्र में गूर दे श्या
No! No, 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 no! Nothing like it! I'm not going to bury my coil in this dirty mud. She'll be covered with mold. Her body will rot.
सगला चुप रहो काजी संदेह बताओ
थे बोलो हुजूर थे
शांति रखो भाया ठहरो मैं बताऊं की करनो है सोचना पड़ेगा थोड़ा After a while, a fresh idea occurred to the Kaji. He said that she should be embalmed with the utmost care and placed in a golden cage to be hung from a branch of a banyan tree so that the travelers passing by the tree could benefit from the opportunity to see the blessed koyal. Having shared his plan, the Kaji looked at the throng that had gathered around him and asked, "Tharo ki vichar hai?"
इसी बात तो भगवान ने को नहीं सोचा बहुत चोखी सोचा
But now we must begin performing her rites. It will reflect well on us only if her rites are performed as befits her great qualities. Where will one get to see such blessed being? Then, thereon the inhabitants of the Kaji's neighborhood, clever and competent as they were, got everything done in no time at all. No one needed any explanations. Each one of those eager people got for Koyal the jewels they could and piled them in front of the Kaji willingly. Oh. क्या बात है रख दे भाया रख दे
हाजी साहब ओ हमारी करदनी नहीं करदनी है 100 साल पुरानी कारीगरी देखो तो देखता रह जा
वाह
कोयल का काम है
रख दे भाया तू भी रख दे
काजी साहब हमारे 3 पीढ़ियारी संपत्ति 100 मोरा है मैं कोयल रे काम
अरे रख जल्दी रख
हुजूर ओ हमारी बेटी को दाई जो
हाँ
जनाब बढ़िया सस्लड़ो से ब्याह नहीं
ओह
हमारी बेटी लाने से मैं तो ब्याह ही कौन करूं
हाँ
बहुत समझाई हुजूर बात को नहीं मानी
ओह लो
मैं तो कोई बात को नहीं ब्याह
हाँ
तो क्या हो
हाँ
ए कहना तो हमारी दूसरी बेटी कोयल का काम है
अरे वाह क्या बात वाह वाह
कोयल में हमारी बेटी में कोई फर्क हुजूर
हाँ
पेड़ जठन है
हाँ
सारी जमीन आपनी है
अरे वाह
मैं उस पेड़ के नीचे
हाँ।
एक संगमरमर को चबूतरा बना दे
अरे वाह
और उस पर सोनों को झोल चढ़ा दे
क्या बात है
हुजूर
हाँ आप लोग कुछ देना चाहते हैं प्लीज लाइए ना And while the jeweler melted the gold and built a cage, deft craftsmen stuffed the dog and filled her with preservatives and chemicals. The Kaji looked on teary-eyed while all the preparations were carried out swiftly. A gold chain was suspended from a ring, also made of gold, to hang caged from the banyan tree. Even after 7 births, the virtues of such well-meaning and devoted people could not be forgotten. Tears began to pour down the Kaji's house to condole with him. They feared that if they didn't, they would fall out of favor. The infinite and unseen dread of power is not without reason. They would not stop singing Koyal's praises. वो बात खत्म कर ले, फिर सुनाएंगे कहानी। वेट तो हमें भी करनी आती है। They would not stop singing Koyal's praises. One said how once he was eating rotis, Koyal had joined him and had partaken of the same, and despite that, he had not found it filthy. Let a man even try to be as clean as our dear Koyal. हाँ, तुम लोग इतने साफ हो? बोलो सिलोनी, बोलो, बोलो।
ना हुजूर जे था बोलो वही सही।
हाँ हाँ
सगला गांव वाला जाने
की
एक बार मेरे होटा के नीचे बड़ो सारो गुमड़ो हो गया।
ओह
सारो इलाज करा कर देख ली बटो।
ओह
डॉक्टर का गयो, फिर मैं हकीमा का गई।
ओह
कुछ को नहीं होयो। क्यों ही को नहीं होयो।
हाँ
कोयलड़ी आई, मेरा भाग चोखा था।
ओह
आपकी गीली और नरम जीभ से वो दिन तो अभी तीसरे दिन मेरो गुमड़ो गायब।
वाह, क्या बात है, क्या बात है। हाँ हाँ सही है।
मेरा पाँव में छाला हो गया।
हाँ
तो कदम चाल को नहीं सकता।
ओह ओह ओह
वो तो एक दिन कोयलड़ी आगे आगे चाल रही है।
हाँ ओहो
और मेरा पाँव भी पकड़ो।
क्या बात है।
पाँव घुमा कर देखो तो सारा छाला गायब।
हाँ
बढ़ाकर तेरी तस्वीर।
हाँ
अब तो मैं घुमार करूं।
हाय हाय घूमर।
मेरी बात सुनो जी, मेरे सागे के हो नाई कने गयो बाल कटाड़ना।
हाँ
नाई सो पाँच नो फेरियो पूरी तो आज सफा चट कर दी।
हाँ
अब हुजूर से हंसता। सारे दिन हंसती हुजूर, लेकिन आ देखो ते भी सब हंस रहे हो। वो तो भलो गई कोयल को, पर एक दिन आपका यहाँ पंजा मारिया मेरे बाड़ा पर।
हाँ
पंजा मारिया और मैं अचूंगो रह गया हुजूर। बाढ़ यहाँ ऊपर लाग गया।
अरे क्या बात है, क्या बात है। वाह 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 वाह, ताली बजाओ भी, ताली बजाओ, ताली बजाओ, ताली बजाओ, ताली बजाओ। हाँ
हुजूर मैं बताऊं तो
हाँ
एक दिन मैं नान घर में गिर पड़े हो।
हाँ
मेरा गोडो टूट गयो।
ओए
तो मैं के करी, मारी चमत्कारी कोयल री
हाँ?
पट्टी को पट्टी लगा लिया।
ओए ओए ओए
2 दिन में टट्टी को पट्टी लगाने से मेरे
ओए
ठीक हो गया और मैं घोड़ी की तरह नाचूं।
ओए होए 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 होए, क्या बात है, क्या बात है।
हुकुम
हाँ
17 साल से मारो मातो दुखतो तो
17 साल से।
कोयलड़ी आके अपने पूछ तुम्हारे माथे में हाथ फेरी
हाँ
और ठीक हो गयो।
अरे भाई हमारा दिल खुश हो गया। The Kaji, despite being her owner, had not expected Koyal to have such virtues. Hearing about them helped his grief recede considerably. Running his hand over his curly beard, he said, I have racked my brain and grown tired of doing so. But I can't understand one thing. ध्यान से सुनना भाया. I can't understand one thing. If you all are in such a piteous state, after Koyal has departed, what catastrophe will befall you when I am
काजी साहब खाने ले जावे, किसी पहले लोग ले जावे।
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं। ऐसी ऐसी बातें बोलने लगे लोग कि we will stop breathing before it is time for you to embrace death. If you pass away, the sun itself will freeze and fall out of the sky. And once the sun has fallen, there will be no moisture and there will be no rain. And without rain, there will be no grain. What fodder? What cattle? The whole world will perish in suffering and torment. No. We cannot do without you for even a second. Being our master, how can you even think such an evil thing? Softening, the Kaji said, if this is what you want, I will never let such thoughts enter my mind. I was only wondering what you all thought, I was only wondering, Does death have ears? Even my Mata would not know the answer to that question. But as fate would have it, the very next year, on the very day Koyal had died, the Kaji too passed away while he was cleaning his teeth. But what was most surprising, given the Kaji's stature, that no chaos broke out in the neighborhood following his demise. Forget the sun and the moon. Even a green leaf on any of the trees in the settlement seemed to grieve his passing. But what was so unexpected about this? It was bound to happen, sooner or later. Even he, who is the most foolish, knows fully well that once dead, neither does a Raja come alive nor a Patsha. Then what is a mere Kaji? अपनी अपनी बार भैया, अपनी अपनी बार. It is man's intelligence that he only bows to the rising sun, respects power, fears the ruler more than even death. The new Kaji was everything to the people now. The master of their peace and their pain. Power itself knew better than to deny his wishes. Neither country nor faith come before self-interest. To be mindful of this is the foremost virtue of a clever man.
कमागणी हुजूर, कमागणी हुजूर की जय हो, हुजूर की जय हो.
What harm could it possibly cause if one person didn't attend the Kaji's burial? There wasn't a paucity of people in the neighborhood. Without needing any guru to guide them, everyone instantly thought the same things. Respect for the dog followed from respect for the Kaji. People fear a dog because they fear its owner. Koyal's golden cage had fulfilled their wishes before. Why would it fulfill anything now? How pleased the new Kaji will be if they lay their hand on this cage and present it to the Kaji. As this thought flashed through their minds, everyone dashed to the banyan tree. In no time at all, there was a gathering of people as momentous as the countless leaves on the tree. At once, the cage was lowered and the dog's body taken out and thrown away. The cage was thoroughly washed and polished. Meanwhile, the dog's skin was trampled underfoot by the spirited throng. The preservatives and stuffing mingled with the dust, became indistinguishable from it. Without anyone leading them or telling them anything, the crowd's feet, accustomed to their ways for ages, turned towards the new Kaji's home on their own. The mind, whose job it is to think, did not have to think at all. The new Kaji, lost in thought over some quandary. It is when the crowd suddenly hearing a commotion. It is when he heard a commotion, and it was the crowd outside his mansion. As soon as his eyes fell upon the cage, he was stupefied, but recovered in an instant. The nectar-like chants of Kamagari, Kamagari Hujur, Kamagari, Kamagari Hujur, to ever doubt or be annoyed with such devoted and clever people. Not a single person turned their face towards the forlorn mention of the dead Kaji. Look at them. They are such innocent beings. Kitne shaan, kitne achhe. It is the misfortune of the dead Kaji that as soon as I started to write about his burial, my pen ran out of ink. But I have full faith in the intelligence of my virtuous